Hey folks, welcome back to Ken Michaels Radio, where we talk about the Beatles on all of our shows here. And we have a special guest with us this time, who is the author of a book, a brand new book on Paul McCartney, which we'll talk about in a second. His name is Luca Perasi, who you might know. Several years ago, he put out this book on Paul called Paul McCartney Recording Sessions, 1969 to 2013. This is a wonderful book, and I can't tell you how often I've used this as a reference book when I do all my radio shows on the Beatles. And Luca has a brand new book out, which he's about to show us right now on Paul McCartney.
Yeah, I'm going to show the new book. It's a test copy, so it's there's a little sign, but this is a book. Paul McCartney, Music is Ideas, the Stories Behind the Songs, Volume 1, 1970-1989. That's the new one. It's a larger format compared to recording sessions, and very proud of it, with a great photo and on the cover by Clive Aversmith.
Mm-hmm. Now, this book is officially out as of now. I don't own a copy. I should be getting a copy soon in the mail. And after I'm finished reading it, we'll bring Luca back to talk more about the book. This is just pretty much a sneak preview into the book so that you folks know what it's all about. The information that I have regarding it is that it's 542 pages long, and you're covering 346 what you're calling song sheets, which is really entries or songs of Paul's. Yeah. And you're covering 50 unreleased songs. Is that part of the 346, or is that in addition?
Yeah. No, it's part of the 346.
Okay. And one thing that seems to be different about this book compared to the previous one, the book you gave us before, it was all his original songs. You didn't want to do songs that he covered. Whereas in this book, it does say that there are songs in there, the songs that he did not write. So you're covering that as well. Yeah. For the folks who bought your first book here, what is the difference? Because the previous book is loaded with information about each individual song, the stories behind it, the musicians who played on it, the recording dates. What will you be able to get specifically about the songs in the new book that maybe you didn't get in the previous one?
Well, the first thing is that 10 years have passed since recording sessions, and so we have new information. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to update, or in the end, I decided to do a new book. I call it new because it's a different structure. As you were mentioning before, yes, on recording sessions, I decided to go only with Paul written songs. Here we have all the songs on release date. So it's not for recording date, but release date. So there are all the albums, all the singles. There are even Say Sad Woman and Susie and the Red Stripe single, and the Thrillington one, because basically they are part of Paul's discography. And so compared to recording sessions, just to give you an idea, there are 102 songs more in this book. This book is a larger format. This book has got some pictures, has got some illustrations and stuff which enrich the text, and there are introductions for each album or single, a little bit of background about Paul's tours, other events and stuff. So I think it's way more complete, definitely.
So it's more in depth on each song.
Yeah, we have retained some little parts from recording sessions. There were some entries which were quite well structured, and so we decided not to change it that much in some parts, but there are way more information. You take, for as an example, footnotes. We got over 1,000 footnotes in this book, compared to, I don't know, maybe if we compare the same period, maybe we have doubled the footnotes or something like that. So I think there's a lot to delve into.
Now, you mentioned you cover something like Thrillington in the book. Do you go into songs that Paul wrote for other people, like Rod Stewart with Mine for Me, or the Everly Brothers, or, On the Wings of
No, no. In this case, no. Only Paul's discography.
Okay.
With these two little things added because it made sense. I mean, Thrillington is we all know what is Thrillington, so it would have been a shame to not to include it. So in the end, but not Paul for others. There's a lot of things, and I know that we want things to be complete as much as possible. But I went for this approach, Paul's discography. So that's it.
Just out of curiosity, since Paul released his lyrics book last year, was that very handy in the information that you needed for this book?
Yeah, it was. Let me mention that I have translated the lyrics in Italian. I was appointed as a translator, so it was a nice addition. It was a nice addition because in some I think that there were some songs about which it didn't talk that much about in the past. So we got nice information that I have added in the book. So yeah, that's it. So there are little hints to the lyrics also in my book.
Mm-hmm.
It's the focus is music. It's a musical thing, and the stories behind the songs, the inspiration, all the things that we like to know. But there's a hint to the lyrics. So in some spots there are quotes from the lyrics as well.
Who are the people that you interviewed for this book? Did they give you a lot of insight on the songs?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of interviews from the recording sessions, and I think that material was retained. And then I have added something. I think the most interesting thing is about the London Town album, because I was able to interview one of the assistant engineers, which was Tom Anderson, which was assistant to Geoff Emerick in the Virgin Islands. And he went through a very detailed song-by-song account of what happened, who played what, and all these kind of things. And I was very happy to shed a light on these recordings, which is, well, London Town is one of my favorites album, I must admit.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I love all of them. So we had a conversation back when your first book came out, and I remember you telling me that the 70s is your favorite period for Paul, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I must admit, it's very hard to choose, but if I have to choose a decade, the 70s definitely are probably the most adventurous decade, also in musical terms. Not that that is not interesting after. I mean, classical music, the fireman stuff. Each decade has got its characteristics. But if I have to choose, the 70s are still my favorite.
Okay. We all have our own personal tastes, and anytime you want to, we could have a healthy debate on this. Any photos you want to share with us? Just a couple, maybe?
There's a couple of photos which we all know that the photos are not cheap, so I have selected them carefully. So if we want to say, this one is Paul McCartney with George Martin during the Family Way sessions, which, there's a little introduction which covers the period from 1966 to 1969, just before McCartney.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I was interested to write something that, can you imagine if you are someone who doesn't know Paul McCartney, who doesn't know at all Paul McCartney? So I wanted to introduce what happened just before the McCartney album. So there's 15 pages that it's a little account of what happened in the last years of the Beatles, just to introduce the book. I think it's very useful.
Mm.
Then got another nice photo from the Venus and Mars period here. Let me show you, which is Paul with a conga player, which is Kenneth Williams, and Abbey Road during probably they were recording Rock Show, because it's the only track that this percussion player plays on.
Okay. Are all the photos in your book exclusive to your book?
Well, I'd never seen them before in any book, so I bought these photos. I think there's a catalog of Getty, but I've never seen these photos in any other book. And then I've added images of promo posters and stuff, so to enrich the text. I think it's nice also to have images and photos when you are reading something. I think it helps the reader and makes the thing more entertaining.
Yeah. Now I've heard that you were involved somewhat in the singles box set from Paul.
Yeah, I was involved. I mean, to make a long story short, I have found a couple of mistakes in the lyrics book when they passed us the English version, the original one. There was a couple of things like I don't know. I remember this one. She's given up talking. It was said. It was written album. It was written Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. I said no. It's Driving Rain. So I've collected some of these little things and sent to the publisher, and then the word came to MPL, and so they contacted me and said, "Well, you spotted this and that. Maybe you wanna help us for this project." That was February 2022. And so they asked me if I was interested. Obviously, I was.
Uh-huh.
And so they sent me a little file and said, well, it's a top secret project. There's a disclosure agreement, blah, 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 all these kind of things. So I got a deadline which was quite tight. So I think they gave me something like 1 week, maybe 10 days, to go through the document and send my notes to them. And we did. I did it. I did it, and we had a call with the team, like a Zoom call or something like that. So we went through another step just to verify the sources and stuff, and that was it. I mean, for me, it was an incredible experience, and I was lucky to meet the team in September. I was in London because it was really nice to see the team in face. It's a work team, and it's an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was received there, and we had a coffee and we had a chat together. And so, yeah, I must admit I'm very proud of it. And I must tell you that when I was 20. I think it was my fiancée or something. I can't really remember. Or my friends, some of my friends, had said, "Well, I have a dream, which is to have my name on a McCartney record." And now I can tell you I made it because I got a credit on the singles box. So it's yeah, that was a fantastic experience. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I mean, that's quite an honor. That's something that you live with the rest of your life and you'll always be proud of. So
it is. Thank you.
all right. So once again, the name of your new book is called Paul McCartney, Music is Ideas. Hold up the book one more time. The Stories Behind the Songs, Volume 1, 1970 to 1989. Music is Ideas is, of course, a few words that you'll hear at the beginning of Talk More Talk, which is one of the podcast shows that I co-host on the Beatles. That's mainly on the solo careers of the Beatles. have to try and get you on that show too. It makes the most sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it was it was a nice it's a nice title in my opinion, because it expresses perfectly what's in McCartney's music. Ideas, a lot of ideas. I think that Eric Stewart mentioned in an interview at the time of Press to Play that he never met anyone with that amount of ideas in his life. And so I think music is ideas. It's a perfect thing to say for Paul's music.
Yeah, I've heard Hamish Stewart say the same thing.
Yeah,
Constantly creative. He's
yeah,
always got ideas in his head.
definitely.
So in the description box for this interview, there's going to be an Amazon link if you'd like to purchase Luca's new book, and also the link if you want to get the earlier book right here. Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for joining us, Luca. And
Again,
we'll be talking to you again fairly soon as I can read the new book.
yeah, should be
And
arriving soon.
yeah, thanks to everybody for watching, and we'll see you soon.